Hey guys, the ring is all in my screen. Let me see if I can lessen the ring. Oh, that's so much better, but it's also darker. Hold on. Okay, so we're gonna go with no light because then it doesn't glare on my thing as much, but I do have a light right here to give some light on the desk. I was gonna go live. I don't have enough followers to just use my phone to do that, so I'm kind of doing a recorded live. Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing the same thing I would do if I was actually live right now. The difference is I could actually edit this if I wanted to. I don't think I'm going to though, because it will, the whole purpose of this was to just get on, do the things, and show you. So I'm kind of cleaning up behind you guys as I'm talking, because this is the area I normally do tutorial videos and stuff, but when I'm not doing tutorial videos, I'm making lots of things and the yarn gets all over the place and gets crazy, or the embroidery thread if I'm making friendship bracelets. So the point is, I was gonna go live and let you kind of see the crazy, but since it's not live because I'm not using a laptop, I'm using my phone. For full transparency, I'm using my phone. I don't even know where I was going with that, and this is what I mean by it being live. I would just record this. So today, which I have a huge thing of yarn vomit right here, I'm kind of I wanted to give tips on using like Chinelle yarns and stuff, because Magic Circle is the way to go with stuffies and plushes. However, I'm sure if you have worked with that stuff, it is not friendly. It is not friendly at all to the Magic Circle. It frays a lot. Depending on what brand, it frays even worse, and you can't even get the things to, completely tight. So then you run into the problem, okay, do I chain two and then make my circle and have a bigger hole? Because then you're gonna have to have extra yarn kind of there at the end, so you can kind of sew it extra close, because right now you have a hole and you can't get around that. So I have kind of been manipulating the Chinelle yarns to with the Magic Circle, so I can make all these birds. Like, I've kind of gone a little crazy. I finally have come off the like obsessive, crazy, hyper focused ADHD type of mode, and so I'm sleeping again. But during that time I was like, there's got to be an easier way than fraying all the yarn. So like with some stuffies, I have avoided that by making each side and then sewing it together, but even then the yarn does fray a lot as you're sewing. So I'm gonna show you some options which I'm playing with, and then I'm going to show you how I've been doing that circle with Chinelle yarn. So I am gonna have to figure out which bird I'm making next. And I'm gonna flip the camera. So let me just show you. I think I have some loops and thread in here. Yeah, okay. So a lot of people are using this, which it's backwards right now because of the view of the camera, but it's Parfait Chunky. It's Premier yarn. I'm actually fairly new to using it. It does shed just like everything else, but I've definitely worked with Chinelle that sheds worse than it, so kudos to it. But here, let me just show you. Like, you can already tell right here on its end, it's just kind of, see, it's, if I pull on it, it's gonna do it a little bit more. So you do have to be careful with it. But for making these stuffies, I've come across minimal inside the skein that was like majority frayed. I've only had one skein do that to me so far, so I'm quite pleased with the general quality of it. Now, you come over to Loops and Threads, which is made by Michaels. And they have the Chinelle Home Slim, which is a similar thickness to this Parfait Chunky. So you can use the same hook for it when you're making stuffies and stuff. This also is very moody and can this one's not even, like, I'm gonna make a whole vomit trying to pull this out. Let me see if I can get it out. Now that I'm gonna be able to. Yarn vomit right here. Oh my gosh. So I wanted to find the end to see how, I haven't used this specific color, but I have noticed with the colors, they do tend to fray kind of easy. And if you read on Michael's website, the reviews on this particular yarn is pretty mixed. Now I have noticed, and I don't know if it's just I got an off dye lot of the white, but it's extra thick. Like, it's thicker than these colors but it's the exact same yarn, but white. Ah, here it is. Huge yarn vomit. So if I just roll my finger on it, this one's not doing it too bad, but when you do that initial circle with this type, it's horrible. It tends to, and I think some of it has to do with the dye lot, that particular grouping, because it's not consistent, which makes it so that yarn is not consistent. What else was I? Oh, Yarn Bee and Yarn Bee Baby, which is from Hobby Lobby. They also have some Chinelle-like yarns. They are similar thickness, slightly thinner than the Premier Chunky Parfait. And I did get a little bit off when I did that, just going down it. This one does, they tend to hold up a little bit better. Like, if I was to have to choose between the three as far as like product quality, I think the Yarn Bee did really good with their Chinelle. Even their velvet I don't have a hard time working with, but for color variety, the Premier Parfait, if you're wanting to do Chinelle, definitely has the most color options. I think I'd actually have to count them in between it and Loops and Threads, but if I had to choose between Loops and Threads and Premier Parfait, I might actually choose the Premier, just because it seems like, at least thus far what I've experienced, while I know it's going to completely destroy itself when I do a magic circle, I have figured out how to get around that. But the overall scheme is consistent, so I know what I'm getting. But there are other options. You can get a super soft yarn feel with the Bernat blanket. It has tons of color options, and it's sturdier. Like, I would recommend this one for people to actually throw the finished product in the washing machine on gentle, but they could still wash it. It's not going to destroy the yarn. I would never I would tell them to hand wash anything made with this. So that makes a difference too. Let me get my hook and we'll get started. Now the Bernat, here we go. See what I mean? Whole mess. Let me move that dude's business card. He makes fake honey. It's not actually honey. It looks like honey, so he's calling it fake honey. It's actually really yummy. Why is this being all, why are you being the way that you are thing? There. Hopefully that works. Okay. So I'm gonna just leave you right there. So this is the Bernat Tweeds. Bernat blanket. It's nice and soft. My daughter is very picky on softness of yarn, so that usually plays a role in what I use to make stuff. Trying to find, again, I could pause you, but then it wouldn't feel like alive. If I really can't find this, I will. Oh, I do have to pause you. I'm getting a phone call. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm going to get right into it. So this is the Bernat blanket yarn. This one's a tweed color. And I'm going to leave a bit of tail on it, longer than what I necessarily need. I have found leaving tails longer than what I need when working with these yarns can be helpful for manipulating it if you're having trouble with the yarn wanting to defray. Like I said before, you get more consistent working with the Bernat blanket. It is a bit sturdier, so that shouldn't be a problem with it. 3. So right now I'm making my circle for one of the birds that I've been making. 7 and 8. Okay, so did it how I normally would. I didn't stress about it being a hole or anything, and I'm going to turn it around and see how easy it pulls out. No defraying, nice tight circle. I do feel a little bit of a hole there, but I can probably get it a little tighter, and some of that has to do with how bulky this yarn is. So now I have this tail, and I'm going to just go ahead and tie a knot to secure it where it's at. And as I get moving with it, because it is the way it is and it didn't defray or anything, I can use it to tighten up that hole by sewing or making another knot to just kind of fill it in with the knot, and it's good to go. Super easy. So now let me look at my patterns, figure out which color I'm going to use first for the other one. It's going to be this. So, which I'd showed you earlier. So for the Bernat, I did grab the 6.5 millimeter because it's so thick. That's like a really small hook for that yarn. So just take that in mind. It's gonna be tight, which you could kind of see from that. It's very, very tight. I could easily bump it up to 7 and still make really cute birds with it without big gaps. But I'm doing it off the pattern, and I do like how tight those stitches are. So for this, because we have the defraying problem, there's thinner chenilles out than this. I have some. I'm not digging them out because these are what I've been working with, and I feel like showing you on these, you'll be able to see it better. So again, I'm going to leave a bit of a tail. I wouldn't normally leave so long of a tail, but this isn't the one I was using. Hooks everywhere, let me tell you. Use this one. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to start my magic circle. I got my chain 1, and then I'm going to stop, and I'm going to grab that tail, and I'm going to slowly start to tighten the hole so it's just itty bitty. So basically what I'm been doing with these is I am pre-tightening the magic circle hole before I put my yarn in to make the circle, and I'm doing that to ensure that I don't pull apart the chenille yarn as I tighten my magic circle. And so it actually closes, because one thing I was noticing as I was making magic circles with this Premier Parfait chunky yarn is it wouldn't budge. And so I'd have this big gaping hole because it wasn't a big deal. I would tighten it at the end, but I couldn't tighten it at all. So it is proving to be easier to pre-tighten that hole to where it's small but big enough you can get your hook into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that way you can still do the magic circle route. You're not having to like really manipulate any, and you're not ruining the yarn. Double check. Wait a second. So that's all there is to it. It's nice and did its thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more. So let me go ahead and finish this on here so that way you guys can see it. And I would recommend, if you are wanting to make something out of the chenille and it requires a magic circle to do something like this, so like I said, it's not only did it prove to be super easy for me, I'm actually gonna attach that right there, but it fixed the problem of having the hole. It does make it a little bit, I have to kind of finagle it when I'm finishing up the circle, but it's there, it's done, and now I can pull, and I have extra, but I didn't have to pull very far because the hole was already pretty much done, and I was able to pull just enough that it didn't do any real fraying. Now sometimes I'll do that and it will still try and fray, but I think having the extra yarn lets me hold for the tail, it lets me hold it far enough out and in different spots so I'm not stressing out one part of the yarn so it doesn't defray. But I thought I'd share that because I was finding, I was like, I know other people have got to be having a hard time with this yarn because it likes to fight you, and especially if you're trying to use a hook size that isn't necessarily the size that's meant for it. It makes it that much more difficult, and the yarn is already super delicate. So I put in my first increase just to show it. There's a reason I changed everything. And that's it. So I might do a little video and show these birds here soon. But I wanted to just get on here and show you guys that because I've been working on those and I haven't been able to get on here as much, and I know I've kind of talked about that, so my goal was just to come on and show you something I've noticed, and hopefully that helps somebody, and maybe I'll set up my laptop next time so I can actually go live. You guys have a great day, and if you like this, like the video, subscribe. I didn't show this. I will real quick. Yarn vomit is a huge thing with the Bernat blankets, so you might want to actually take the time to ball them. And I still didn't find the end and all that, so I probably would have been better off just taking off the wrapper. But I like leaving it on there so I know the name of the yarn. So if you're like me, you might find that you don't like that they do that. But then that's it. Like I said, like, subscribe, follow, all the things. I do have stuff coming. I do have hats I'm going to be working on the channel soon. It's really just time restrictions in life. It's been crazier than I anticipated. So I'll see you guys later.